the harsh truth about success that Benjamin Franklin tried to teach. Benjamin Franklin's life didn't begin in greatness. He wasn't born into wealth or nobility. He was the 15th of 17 children in a family of candle makers in Boston. His father hoped he would join the clergy, but schooling was expensive, and Franklin had only 2 years of formal education before being sent to work in his father's shop. That shop was hot, smelly, and miserable. Franklin hated it, so his father bound him as an apprentice to his older brother James, a printer. Franklin learned the trade quickly, but the relationship was harsh. His brother was domineering, sometimes violent. Franklin wanted freedom, but the contract bound him until he turned 21. Most boys would have accepted their fate. Franklin didn't. At 17, he ran. He boarded a ship for Philadelphia, leaving behind his family, his brother, and any sense of safety. When he arrived, he had nothing. He was dirty, broke, hungry. With his last pennies, he bought 3 loaves of bread, stuffing them under his arms as he wandered through the unfamiliar streets. People must have laughed at the sight. This ragged boy with bread under his arms, trying to look like he belonged. Franklin himself later admitted he looked ridiculous. But what mattered is what he did next. He went straight to a print shop and asked for work. That moment tells you everything you need to know about Franklin's philosophy. He didn't waste time. He converted it into wages, into food, into opportunity. He believed time was capital, the only capital a poor boy truly owned, and he refused to squander it. Years later, he would write, "Remember that time is money," and he lived it. Number 1, time is capital. Franklin never forgot those early days in Philadelphia. He had walked into the city with nothing but bread and determination, and within months he had earned a reputation as a worker who never sat idle. He was often seen carrying rolls of paper or heavy equipment through the streets himself, instead of hiring help just to show clients he was industrious. It wasn't an act. He was proving a point. While others wasted hours, he invested them. Franklin used every spare moment to study. He read late into the night, devouring classics, science, philosophy. He taught himself to write by imitating essays from The Spectator. He copied them word for word, set them aside, then tried to rewrite them from memory, comparing his work to the original until his style improved. That discipline transformed a poorly educated boy into one of the sharpest writers in the colonies. He would later sum it up in a line, "Lost time is never found again." He wasn't just speaking to the careless. He was speaking to anyone who thought they could delay, postpone, or wait for the right moment. To Franklin, every lost hour was gone forever, and no fortune could buy it back. Number 2, a system for the day. Franklin's life looked chaotic from the outside. He was a printer, a writer, an inventor, a diplomat. But underneath, he ran his days with a system. In his autobiography, he described a daily schedule anchored by 2 questions. In the morning, what good shall I do this day? At night, what good have I done today? He rose early, usually around 5, and divided the day into blocks. Work, study, meals, conversation, reflection. Evenings ended with review. Did he do the good he had planned? Where had he failed? Where could he adjust? Franklin admitted he rarely kept the schedule perfectly, but that was the genius of it. He wasn't chasing perfection. He was chasing awareness. He built a system where failure couldn't hide. By confronting himself each day, he could steer his life like a ship adjusting its sails. Imagine him by candlelight, recording his successes and failures, not as a way of punishing himself, but as a way of guiding tomorrow. That habit created momentum that few could match. He wasn't just living days, he was shaping them. Number 3, compounding knowledge. Franklin believed knowledge was the best investment a man could make. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest, and he backed this belief with action. At 21, he created the Junto, a club of tradesmen and thinkers who met every Friday night. They gathered in a tavern, but it wasn't for idle drinking. The meetings were structured, deliberate. Each member brought questions. What business opportunities had they noticed that week? What moral failings had they seen in themselves? What inventions or discoveries had they encountered? How could they help each other? The junto became a crucible. Ideas were tested, weaknesses exposed, opportunities shared. Out of these sessions came institutions that shaped America. The first subscription library, the first volunteer fire company, even the foundation for the University of Pennsylvania. Franklin wasn't just networking. He was compounding knowledge and relationships. He built an environment where ideas sharpened against each other, where information circulated faster than anywhere else. This gave him an edge in business, politics, and science. Today, we'd call it a mastermind group. Franklin simply called it common sense. He knew excuses compounded into weakness, but knowledge, when invested, compounded into power. Number 4, reputation as credit. Franklin understood that reputation was currency. In his early days as a printer, he deliberately cultivated an image of frugality and hard work. He walked the streets carrying paper himself, declined invitations to idle gossip, and often worked with his door open so people could see him laboring. Clients noticed. Soon, Franklin wasn't just another printer. He was the printer you could trust. He became known for delivering early, for correcting mistakes without complaint, for reinvesting profits into better equipment. While competitors cut corners, Franklin built trust. This reputation paid dividends. It earned him contracts, partnerships, and eventually the prestigious role of postmaster. That position multiplied his influence and his speed, giving him access to information others couldn't get. Franklin once said, "Well done is better than well said." He proved it. Reputation wasn't built with slogans. It was built with consistent delivery. And once built, it became a credit line he could draw on for the rest of his life. Number 5, frugality as firepower. Franklin preached frugality, but not for the sake of hoarding pennies. To him, frugality created firepower, the ability to seize opportunity. Beware of little expenses. A small leak will sink a great ship. In his youth, he lived simply, denying himself luxuries so he could save enough to open his own printing house. That one decision flipped his life. He was no longer selling hours. He was selling outcomes. The income became his, the reputation his, the future his. Later, his frugality funded experiments, inventions, and public works. He didn't waste money on appearances. He deployed it to create leverage. Franklin wasn't cheap. He was strategic. And that distinction made all the difference. Number 6, the junto and the power of community. Franklin's Friday night club was more than a place to share ideas. It was a proving ground for character. Members were required to act with honesty, to help one another, and to share openly. Through this group, Franklin tested his ideas before publishing them, found partners for ventures, and refined his own philosophy. It was the junto that gave birth to civic improvements, fire brigades, libraries, hospitals. Franklin believed individuals could do much, but communities could do more. By creating structures where people collaborated, he multiplied his impact far beyond what he could achieve alone. This wasn't charity. It was enlightened self-interest. By improving his city, he improved his own opportunities. By lifting others, he lifted himself. Number 7, write or build. Franklin gave the world one of its sharpest mottos. Either write something worth reading or do something worth writing. He lived both. He wrote essays and pamphlets that shaped public opinion. His Poor Richard's Almanac ran for 25 years, filled with witty proverbs that became embedded in American culture. At the same time, he invented practical devices, bifocal glasses, the Franklin stove, the lightning rod. He didn't guard these inventions for profit. He shared them freely, trading wealth for influence and reputation. He believed creation was the highest form of living. To contribute something, words, ideas, inventions, was to live beyond your own lifespan. Number 8, patience and persistence. Franklin was ambitious, but he played long games. His experiments with electricity took years of careful study, often with little immediate reward. Yet those experiments built his reputation as a man of science, a reputation that later gave him credibility in politics and diplomacy. When he negotiated in Paris during the American Revolution, It wasn't just his wit or charm that won allies. It was his decades-long reputation for persistence, wisdom, and reliability. Patience had compounded into influence. As he put it, "He that can have patience can have what he will." Number 9. The 13 Virtues. Franklin believed character could be designed. He created a system around 13 virtues: temperance, silence, order, resolution, frugality, industry, sincerity, justice, moderation, cleanliness, tranquility, chastity, humility. Each week, he focused on one virtue, marking his failures on a chart. He confessed he never mastered them all. But mastery wasn't the point. The point was awareness. By tracking his flaws, he could improve over time. His system turned morality into a workflow, virtue into habit. It wasn't about becoming perfect. It was about becoming better consistently. Number 10. Legacy. Franklin's harsh truth was simple. Life is short, and wasted time is wasted life. But he showed what happens when time is spent deliberately. From the runaway boy with bread under his arms grew a man who shaped nations, invented tools, and left wisdom that still guides us centuries later. He reminded us, "Dost thou love life? Then do not squander time, for that's the stuff life is made of."